As a research project, most of what you find is the work of someone else. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to cite or acknowledge the work of others. This can include direct quotes, but it can also include summarizations, paraphrasing, or even simply the restatement of an idea or a thought that originally began as someone else's. About what we call parenthetical citations or in-text citations. These are exactly what that sounds like. They are parenthetical because they're in parentheses, but you can also call them in-text citations because they are actually in the body of the text that you've written. This example, highlighted in yellow, comes at the end of a direct quote. You'll notice that the quote is the end quote mark is there, open parentheses, and then the word Hemingway appears. There's no punctuation after the word Hemingway, and the number 689 appears. Then the parentheses are closed, and there's a period. Here's what you're looking at. Hemingway is the reference word that you need to find that source in your works cited list. The number is the page number where you can find this specific information once you've found the source. So now let's look at the bottom of this page where you see works cited. You'll notice that the works cited is listed in alphabetical order. So HA comes before HE. Both of the examples in the works cited appear to be texts written by a single author. So that's why you see Hemingway, Ernest, Hills Like White Elephants, Exploring Literature, etc. The word that appears out in the left-hand margin is the word that should appear within your in-text citation. So again, the word that appears in the left-hand margin should be the word that appears in your parenthetical citation. That way, when you look through the works cited list, you can easily and readily find the word that you're looking for. Be careful though. Notice the typo in this example. Hemingway is misspelled in one of the uses and not in the other. So you're going to want to be careful about things like that. Look at this example. In this example, you'll notice that the first highlighted example of parenthetical citation includes quotation marks around the word George. This means that in all likelihood, you're looking at the title of an article, so that when you look to your works cited list, you're going to find that information, but you'll find it as the title of a text. Corresponding works cited page, and indeed you can see that George Orwell in the listed citation is in quotation marks, suggesting that that is the title of the entry from the World's Book. Turn to the text. So take a look at the second green example. You'll notice that this example comes directly after a direct quote. And you'll also notice that the word essays appears. That's because in the works cited, there are two entries that begin with the word Orwell. And so it's important to distinguish which Orwell this writer means. You'll also notice that there's a page number. In the third example, you'll notice that there are no quotation marks, that the line that precedes the citation is in fact a paraphrase. And so this citation includes the first word that appears in the margin of the works cited and the page number. And then in the final example, you'll see in blue, as Ralph A. Renaud has observed. Then you see the direct quote represented as a display quote. A display quote is very simply a large quote that appears indented on both sides and does not include quotation marks. At the bottom of that, you'll see that only the page numbers appear. This is because this writer has used a signal phrase, and the signal phrase, as Ralph A. Renaud has observed, includes the word that you need to use to find the citation in the works cited list, and that word would be Renaud. Here that we now see the works cited represented, and you can see all of the examples from the above excerpt, including Renaud, so that we can find that information and the pages are represented where we would find that information. Notice that in your works cited list, This is a separate page of the essay. The words works cited are centered at the top of the page, but they are not bolded and they are not underlined. Also notice that the first line of your citation is justified to the left-hand margin and subsequent lines are indented. This is the opposite of paragraph form because it's important that the first word of each citation shows up in alphabetical order. That way you can search your works cited list quickly and easily, especially as you get into more in-depth academic essays that might include 40 or 50 citations. So they need to be in alphabetical order. Now, what happens if we're back here in our essay and our citation is from the internet and doesn't have a page number? In that case, we would very simply use the last name that appears, as you see here, in the parenthetical citation, and that would be the only thing that would appear in that citation. You would not include a page number, as you see here. The question you always want to ask yourself when you're creating a citation is whether or not your reader can return to the original source. So when you're crafting a citation in your works cited list and there's missing information, ask yourself, how can I be as clear as I need to be so that Mrs. Hall and Mrs. Pruitt can return to my original source with ease? And the second question you ask yourself as you're creating your parenthetical citations is, how can I readily and easily indicate which source in my works cited list Miss Pruitt and Mrs. Hall should go to in order to find the original information? And it's as simple as that. Have fun.